guys, how you all doing? Right, back on the GS for a bit. As I'm waiting for an update of the powder coater for when I can take all Dan's stuff, I'm going to do a bit more to this because the powder coater is absolutely flat out with work at the moment, so I'm sort of in his hands when I can drop it all off because he's got stuff everywhere at the minute. So I don't want to go and take this up there and it's lying about for days and days and days, you know, be just my luck it gets damaged. So it's staying here till he's ready to do it. Anyway, I'm going to get on with the seat. Although I've not been on this, I have still been going over it in my mind of what I'm going to do next. I'm going to take a slight different approach with the seat. I was going to do some small side panels, but I think I'm going to bring the seat down to here and then try and make it follow the tank and go up slightly so it all drops in round the tank. I think it's going to look better like that, to be honest. So yeah, I'm going to start with a bit of a cover over the fitting points of the tank and work from there really, and as we always do, make it up as we go along. So let's give it a go. Yeah, so to start with, I'm going to make a cover that goes around these two fixing points of the tank. It's not going to be very high, but it's obviously we're going to have the base go over them. It's definitely not going to be high enough to have any effect on the comfort of the seat at all. So it's going to have a fair bit of padding in this seat actually. And then when we've done that, we'll figure out how we're going to go up a bit and round the tank to around about that point there. So I'll start with the sides first. Right. To start with, I'm going to use this strip. This is only about 15mm deep, so like I say, it's not going to cause a problem inside the seat. I'm just going to start back here actually, shape it round this and mess about with it till it fits. Try that. Mark that up. So that one needs bending a bit more, and then we need to start the other one about there. So I'm literally going to piece this up. I'll still make it neat, but it's not going to be seen. Keep chipping away at it till we've got some sort of shape there. Let's see how that looks. Maybe I need to cut that big long bit off first. How about that? That fits, that does. We'll tack that on first, then we'll put a bit of a lid on it, and then come up here with a separate piece. Right, that's got that tacked on. Now we're just going to have to go through the process of keep trying it on and take into account the thickness of seat coverings and things like that, so when it's all together we don't have a big problem of not being able to sort of drop it on the bike. Alright, let's give it a try. So obviously with the tapers at the frame, you're quite restricted where the seat panels start to drop in. There we go. Right, that's not too bad. Obviously, sort of ignore this bit in here because all that's going to change as we go along. So next, we need to put a lid on this. And then when that lid's on, these end pieces, then I'm sort of going to spread them out so they come into line with the tank. You see it on a lot of modern sports bikes where the seat follows the tank in that area, so that's sort of what I'm going for. Not that we're copying a sports bike, but you know, you see these things and sort of use the ideas. Right, let's do a bit of a template, I think, and get a lid on that. Right, I've got that roughed out. Roughly marked out, that is. Drilled a couple of holes in just so I can cut to them, and then we'll trim the edges off and tack it on, and gradually we'll hold it in front of the camera and gradually we'll trim it up so it fits. Right, that's that tacked on and trimmed up a bit, so I'm just going to try it on now and then figure out where we're going to go with it next. Like I say, we're just making it up as we go along till we get something that fits. I've probably said before that you see so many seats that don't fit the tank properly. They look great at the back end and it gets to the tank and it just doesn't fit, as over a big gap or it's squashed up or whatever. So obviously we want to try and make this one look good. So let's go and try it on. Well, it's still dropping into place, which is good. My only concern, if I start coming up too high, so let's just drop that back a bit. So I've only got so far, because it's tapering out, you've only got such a small area to be able to drop it in. You know, as you go come back from here, it's going to hit the frame, so you've got to get right up close before it drops over the frame. So that's sort of going to limit what I can put up here. I'll have to have a little think about that, because then however high we come up here, we may even have to, like I say, we may even have to do it really low, and then we can just put that shape in with the seat foam if I decide to go up that far. We'll see. I think the next thing, let me get a piece of metal. Maybe if I get that curve in this to follow the tank, then we can just keep trimming until we know we can drop it on, and then come off the sides of that. Yeah, I think we'll curve this next and just basically tack everything till we know we're fine. Right, I'm just gonna try and beat a curve into this, I guess, in a real basic way. I've actually been looking for an anvil again. Been searching around just for sort of a small one, because yeah, as some of you know, I spent 25 years stood at one of them, and silly jobs like this, you know, the way I work, the way I've worked for all that long, I can do things like this quite easily. But, the prices of them are crazy. I used to have, yeah, the most annoying thing, I used to have 4 of them. So yeah, it's been a long time. And maybe if I got an anvil as well, and probably a little gas forge, I could have a bit of fun with it and do a few things. Not just motorcycle related. I could have a mess about and do a couple of videos on that at some point, I guess. But yeah, I am going to keep an eye out for one. No rush, just I would like one again, just to mess about. Yeah, I literally, obviously when my dad died, I gave it all up. So yeah, in fact I found a picture the other day of me and my dad. I'll put it up now. That picture was from a while ago. In fact, I've got the, where is it? What I'm holding in that picture is this. So my dad made this one. So basically, again, all these techniques, getting some of that kit back, I could use some of it, I guess. Who knows? So basically this starts life out as a flat piece of copper, and what you start with is sort of a metal tray, so deep, so big, you know, you can make them as big as you like, and they're filled with like pitch and tallow, which is fat. So the tallow makes the pitch quite soft. So all you do is basically you draw that face, like the basic face, onto the copper. You tip it into the pitch, and you've got sort of all your selection of little tools to start chasing it and stretching it all out into that. So yeah, it would be fun actually doing some of it again. It's been a long time, been a real long time since I've done anything like that. But like I'm saying, jobs like this with an anvil, and obviously get a little Farrier's gas forge and stuff, you know, this is the way I'm used to working, so I could make things a bit easier. I'm never been one for posh machines and things like that. Everything's done by hand. So yeah, one day I'll get one, and we could do a bit on that as well. Anyway, let's get on with this. I'm going to try that. That ain't bad at all. Bear in mind, you're not going to see any of this. This is basically getting the outside shape that the seat material will eventually follow. So none of this on the inside you'll see. So I might cut that into shape actually, and then start bringing it round into the side. Obviously I've got to leave a bit of gap there as well for the material of the seat to all go down and bond to. I've got a bit of shape cut into that. All I need to do now is roll the very ends around a tiny bit more, and then we should be able to drop it in with another separate piece each side and follow the tank sort of up to where the seat is ending there, and then I'll say bring this out a bit. But we'll get this shape done first, and then we'll know how much to bring this out. So I'm just going to tap them ends around a bit more, just so we can get it following the tank better. Well, that's following that quite well now, the ends are tapped over. So what I'm going to do now, a real very basic simple thing, obviously was trying to replicate the material that the seat's going to get covered in, because it's got to fold down the back there, and mark it up also what I'm going to do is all the mounting points for this seat, I'm going to do them slotted anyway to allow any differences to, you know, to be able to move the seat around. But I'm going to mark this up, then we'll tack it on, because like I said earlier, we may have an issue with how the seat's got to tip in and drop down to the frame. So I'm just going to tack this on, then all we'll do is keep shaving this down a bit till we can drop it in. I think we may have to take a bit off it. And like I say, it doesn't matter because we can create shape in the sponge of the seat anyway. Let's go for there. Oh, I think that looks good as anywhere. Yeah, so we'll tack that on, then see if it still slides on or not. Right, tacked on. Place your bets now. Is it going to slide on, or is it just that lip going to hit the tank first? Let's see. Let's take that off a minute. Go on, do your job. That was definitely more luck than judgment. I will be honest. And we got a gap there. Obviously we put a wedge of them DA discs in. I think that's going to be alright, you know. Let's just slide this on. Yes. Right. Next bit, we'll get the sides in. I'll mark some of them up in a minute, and then we'll know where to flare the side of the seat out to. Right, I've trimmed this up. I've trimmed the sides of these back flush with this. So I'm hoping if I tack this on to start with, we're still going to be able to get the seat on and off. Right, I've cut that off now. I think I've about got that shape there. What I'm going to do is tack it on. And we should get a gauge if the seat is still going to come on and off with that in place. If it does, then we'll correct all this bit to come and match up with this. Right, I've got that tacked on. It's about sitting where I want it. Obviously changing my mind as I go along. I'm thinking it's going to be much easier if I put that piece in rather than try and bend this out, which is going to leave me a massive gap anyway. So what I think I'm going to do is put this piece in. Let me get a pen. Yeah, put that in. Then cut it off like so. Also we'll have to trim the bottom off as well. Excuse my wonky lines. In fact, we can put a big radius in that. Like so. And then all this in here, I'll literally be able to lose that. Don't need them spurs coming off the seat. yeah, I think that's going to be the easiest way. And like I say, lose everything on the inside then. There's no point in it being there. Right, as you can see, we've got that tacked on. I know we've got a bit of a gap here, but that's going to be really easy to deal with. So if I trim this off now, we're starting to take shape. Straight across the bottom now. See now, I think if we put a nice big radius on that, obviously fill that gap up, although like I say, you're literally not going to see any of this. It's just creating that outside edge for the seat to match the tank. So really all this inside can come off, which will make it even easier to slide onto the bike. Right, there we go, that's one side done. Now I've figured out where I'm going with it, the other side will be fairly quick to do, so I don't think I'll bother filming the other side. You've seen that side done, you can see where it's going. Obviously there's still room to trim off here and there if I think the shape's going to be a bit odd, but I think I'm now going in the right direction with it. Still make a little panel, but it'll be on this angle. I'm unsure yet. It won't be on the side because I'm trying to make the bike look like the lines look clean as possible. So it may have a little infill one there. Like I say, I'll decide when both sides are on and I'm sort of progressing with the bike. Yeah, let's try it on anyway. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a lot easier for me with these bits gone. As you can see, it's all gone on that side. It's I've still got to dress things up a little bit, but you can see the basic shape. We've got a nice gap for the seat material to drop into. Obviously, like I said, it will be all on slots to give us sort of the scope to move around. So that's about it. Yeah, it may be hard to see where it's going because obviously you're not going to see none of this that I'm making. All it's going to do is sort of create the outside line of the material of the seat. So all that work's going to be buried. It will be the seat itself and the shape of the sponge that will put the style into the seat. I want to try and keep it as sort of shallow as possible. Not as shallow as I do the seats on the bobbers, obviously. This will actually have a bit of material in it. You might be able to go more than 20 miles on this without getting a shock up your spine. But that's definitely going in the right direction. Like I say, I want to try and keep the lines as clutter free as possible. I know this part was going to be a panel, but obviously I've changed my mind a lot as I build these bikes, as you all know. But there might be a little panel in here, sort of little discrete panel just to fill in that gap. I'm unsure yet. Obviously I'll make these decisions as I go along. But that's the seat well and truly on the way now. I think tomorrow I'm going to do the other side quickly in the morning, and then we'll start catching back up, maybe for the mounting points on the seat. You know, we'll be doing some lugs off the frame, probably putting some studs in the seat so it all drops in and it all bolts up from underneath. I don't know, some nice little dome deads on, something like that. We'll see how that goes. There's not, believe it or not, there's not a massive amount to do on this bike now. We've got to locate the battery. I mean, you know, if I made a nice enough box, there's actually a space here, down here, because I'm going to get the smallest battery possible that will crank the bike over. So I may be able to make something sort of nice looking rather than just a box, and maybe put it in here on show, I don't know, or we'll lose it up there somewhere. We'll have to see. We've got the footrest to put on, and then it's just really down to tidying parts up. I've got to put the brackets on for the steering lock, because at the minute the forks hit the tank, so I've got to figure that out. That'll be a real simple thing to do. I've got to put the old fuel tap out the old tank into this and block the great big hole up that's in this tank from, obviously, I'm not sure if, yeah, these would have a big like sender unit in for a fuel gauge, I guess. Obviously this is not having a fuel gauge, so I've got to block all that hole up, which ain't no big deal. So when the seat's done and I've decided where I'm locating the battery, it's just an handful of small jobs really, and maybe I will get this apart as I'm picking Dan's bike up from the powder coaters. Good chance I'll be dropping this one off, and then obviously when this comes back it's all down to the wiring. Forgot one thing, the rear lights and the number plate location. That's not a biggie. I've been thinking about them rear lights a lot. I think I'm going to take a real simple route with them. I think it'll be all right. So I think in the next couple of days we'll be doing that. So it would be nice if I've got all this finish from when I'm picking Dan's stuff up, and it'd be nice to be able to drop this off. Anyway, that'll do for today. The next video, which I'm actually going to do in a bit, is actually going to be a tiny job on my bike, on the BMW. I'll explain in the video. I've had someone ask me if I could do a video on this particular part that I'm changing, because they've got the same issue with theirs. So I'm going to do a little short video on that, so that'll be after this one. Anyway, that'll do me on this for today. On with the BMW and solve a little problem on that. Anyway, cheers for watching guys, take care.